Mike's Daily Podcast.
My late Uncle Yoop there saying, let's sing another song. But his granddaughter's still alive.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Anki. Yes, they're all relatives. It's all relative, isn't it? It's Mike Matthews. Here we are on the show where I give yous lots of interesting things, and there's some news, and then I get people saying they're confused. Oh, did you know the last podcast picture featured a photo
Mike's Daily Podcast
of Daytona Beach, and I just heard from someone who was a friend of my late mom's and hung out with her
Mike's
many times
Daily
in Daytona Beach.
Podcast.
They had lots of fun together.
Yeah!
And she sent me an email, and I'm going to have to share it with you in just a little bit. But first, folks, the latest on YouTube, thinking Mike Matthews is entirely too controversial to be on YouTube. And all I did was read verbatim what the WHO and what the CDC said about the difference between monkeypox and COVID-19. And I did that, and I do all these stories because I figured the general public doesn't really know this stuff. They're not covering it so much in media, either left-leaning or right-leaning media. They're just not covering it. And so yours truly, your friend, Mike Matthews, because I'm your friend. I'm your friend, and I'm not Southern. I did grow up in Southern California, and I did live for a short while in Huntsville, Alabama, where I was fixing to do a podcast. Actually, I started this podcast in Huntsville, but I am born and bred into California, so I am not really that, but I'm Southern California. But now I'm in Northern California, where it's very, very interesting. And I would say my point is that it's time for the podcast picture.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I think I will post yet another photo from Daytona Beach. So you can see that at mikesdailypodcast.com, a website that I pay for and I do all by myself. So please enjoy it. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, at some point, I feel like I will end up in the South. We'll see. But I love Southern people. I love the South. I love just all the, cafe anyway. It's very invigorating. And that's what my mom thought. And she moved to Florida years ago. The late, great Basil the Boxer, who never made it to Florida, never made it to Southern California, was actually, he was from Fresno originally. So that's kind of south. Well, it's definitely south of here, and it feels like the South in Fresno and Bakersfield. And that's where country music got a lot of influx of talent from the Merle Haggards and the Buck Owens and the Dwight Yoakam, even though he was from Kentucky, but he adopted that Bakersfield sound. So my point is, raisins are good because they make those in Fresno. But my point is that for some reason, YouTube saw, and they have a bot that goes through an algorithm that somehow dissected that I said something that was not true, even though I was reading directly from the WHO and the CDC. So YouTube has a problem with them, apparently. Now, here's the interesting thing. I contested it. I appealed it. They didn't even spend 5 minutes listening to what I had to say. They still put a slash on my beautiful reputation. And so my channel is still up, but I just can't upload anything to it. Now, that's only going to last a week. But here's the thing. I don't do videos anyway. The only reason why I did those short video clips was for YouTube. I figured I have a YouTube channel which just has the audio from my podcast. So maybe I'll just film a quick little video. You can film a video with anything these days. Heck, everything. We live in 2022, So even your pencil can take a picture of you. Everything is that straw you're about to throw out can take a picture of you. You can take a picture with anything. Take a little videoette of anything. So that's what I did. And I posted it. Now I can't do that anymore. And I don't care. I just wanted to tell you that yours truly, as completely uncontroversial as can be, gets taken off of YouTube. I know somebody via the internet. I never met her. She was friends with my mom. And she used to send my mom emails. And they were jokes that she would find. So this is all before social media. Nowadays, people, they see something. They go, oh, that's funny. They post it on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. But this lady, she started this before any of that existed, MySpace. She realized, hey, remember, this is something probably you did years and years ago, if you're old enough to remember, that before we had the MySpace and social media, we just emailed everybody. We would like, oh, this is funny. Do a mass email, CC everybody. Some of your friends would get annoyed. But hey, hey, look at this joke I found. So she's still doing that. And kudos to her. She has put me on her email list. I used to, when I'd go visit my mom, I'd go, Mom, let me take a look at your computer, make sure you're doing updates, because she would never do updates. And I was like, I don't want you to get a virus. I don't want you to get hacked or anything. So let me look through your computer. And I check out her email account. And as soon as I'd open the email account, I'd see all these emails from this friend of hers. And they were all jokes. It just kind of, you'd read. And sometimes I'd go, and sometimes I'd go, that's pretty good. Well, now I'm on her email list. I had told her, she had emailed my mom. I had gotten into my mom's email account to let people know that she had passed. As we go outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. And she got back to me and said, oh, we were good friends with your mom. In fact, we were just thinking of her. We stopped by her house. We noticed all the newspapers were piled up. This is after I had left Florida, after I had tried to take care of Mom's house and get it ready for being sold. And I think I've told about that whole fiasco. Very difficult for an only child to do. Thank God this particular only child had a wonderful girlfriend that helped her out tremendously. But this friend of my mom said, hey, we didn't know, and thank you for reaching out. So now I'm on her email list, and this is what she sent. Considering that the Little League World Series will soon be played in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, I felt this was something worthwhile to pass along just as a reminder of proper etiquette while watching a ball game, especially Little League. At one point during a game, the coach called one of his 9-year-old baseball players aside and asked, do you understand what cooperation is? What a team is? Yes, coach, replied the little boy. Do you understand that what matters is whether we win or lose together as a team? The little boy nodded in the affirmative. So, the coach continued, I'm sure you know, when an out is called, you shouldn't argue or curse or attack the umpire or call him a bleep. Do you understand all that? Again, little boy nodded in the affirmative. The coach continued, and when I take you out of the game so that another boy gets a chance to play, we don't call that boy, we don't call that a bleep decision, or that it means the coach is a bleep head, right? Yes, coach. Good, said the boy. Now go over there and explain all that to your grandmother. Hang on. I don't have a rim. Where's my drum shot thingy? I'm going to try and put it right here if I remember. I'll do it in post. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, or whatever you identify with, By the way, I was listening to a great podcast called No Agenda. My friend Masa has been telling me forever about this podcast. Adam Curry, who I think he was on MTV at one point with the nice hair, he apparently started podcasts, or was one of the first people to start podcasting. And so he's all big about, he makes money off of getting people, teaching them, getting them up to speed with the ways to be a podcaster and to make money at it. Which yours truly, your friend, your Mike Matthews, does not do. I make no money on this at all. It is a hobby. Everyone needs a hobby. So, but what he said, he went to a podcast convention in Dallas, Texas. I think this was just this past weekend. And he described it. And some of the stuff was hilarious because podcasting, it all began as a way of springing from radio. We, in the radio world, wanted to do something that was a little less constrained. Because, when you're on the radio, you can't cuss. You can't do things that your program director won't let you. We wanted to do our own stuff. So people started podcasting because the iPod was in existence. Apple came out with the iPod. And there was this little thing in there where you could, instead of listening to music, you could actually listen to something that somebody recorded that featured them talking. No, not just a books on tape thing, but somebody actually talking and people conversing. And hey, okay, it's a recording. And then it got the snazzy name podcast. So that all existed, and I guess Adam Curry did this way back when. It has turned into, because of the emergence of TikTok and because YouTube influencers and people on YouTube get so many views, and then they move on to television because television is looking for the next big thing, and they're always trying to placate to the youth. Oh, what are the young people doing? What are the young people doing? You know what they're doing? They're walking around with their fingers up their nose. They don't know what they're doing because they're young. They don't got it all worked out. If they do act like they got it all worked out, they're going to make a huge mistake. And we're all going to laugh. And they're going to have to learn from that huge mistake because that's what we all did when we were young. And what we're still doing, and we're probably still going to do when we're old. And you know what? That's fine. But the thing is that they so it's just this whole woke stuff. So at this podcast convention, it's late Walktober or Wokest or Woke. They're acting like it's Woketober, and they're just like, oh, everybody gets a pin, and you got to put your pronoun on the pin. If you don't know if the pronoun isn't supplied on the pins that they have on the table, yes, that they have pronoun pins on the table, these buttons, or as the young people say, buttons. So you got to put that on, and then you got to, and then the podcasters that were like the big ones that everybody were coming to see, they have no concept about talking into a microphone and recording stuff. They're all about video. The one thing Adam Curry was saying, which I find very interesting because he was at one point on MTV, and it was all a visual medium then, even though he has his roots in radio, but he was saying everybody is so good looking. It's not, there's this phrase we use in radio. There's this expression, this sentence we say often. He has a face for radio, which means we're ugly. We're ugly people in radio for the most part. We sound okay on the microphone, but when you see us, you're like, yeah, that's what you look like. So, but then, there were just a few radio people that looked good, and they got on to MTV, and they were VJs. Now everybody in podcasting, everyone that's popular anyway, they're good looking because they're made for video, because they're doing all the TikTok stuff and the Twitch and everything else. So I found that fascinating, and it makes me realize that I'm no longer a podcaster that fits in with the podcasters of today. But what I said back over 10 years ago was that everyone, the beauty of podcasting is that this is opening it up for everyone. It's like the person who sees a joke and wants to email it to all their friends and has their mailing list. It's going back to that. Everybody's got a voice now. Everybody can blog. Everybody can post on YouTube, whatever. So it's a whole new world. And now my inbox is going to get filled with these stupid jokes, but whatever. I do have an interesting thing that I found out about Mike's Daily Podcast at gmail.com. The email that you can email me at is that it's acting weird. Ever since YouTube dinged me, it's being very unresponsive. I don't know if it's only that I have a couple Gmail accounts. That's the only Gmail account that's acting like that. So I don't know. YouTube's or Google is putting some constraints on me. Well, we covered a lot today, and to be honest with you, I did a podcast earlier today, so I'm not going to go much longer. And I think it's about time we get to the Mike Matthews New Tunes feud. But first, let's say hi to some people out here outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's very fascinating about podcasters, and I love TikTok, Mike Matthews. TikTok, you love that? Yes, Mike Matthews. It's like a sound of a clock making noise. TikTok, and there's all kinds of videos, and you swipe and you watch them all, and they're so amazing, Mike Matthews. So what we're saying is, it's all style, no substance. It's all vapid. It's all junk food. There's no there. Is that what we're saying? Exactly, Mike Matthews. Excellent. Just as like here we are now, entertain us. It's all everything that Andy Warhol predicted. Look who else is here. Hello, Mike. This is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer, Mike. You don't have to be so crotchety and persnickety and miserly and like that other thing. Okay, I don't have to be like that. Okay. Like I'm a cranky old geezer is what I am right now. But that's all right. You know what? That's okay, because right now I'm going to change my tune because it's time for the Mike Matthews New Tunes feud. This is a group called what? Oh, they're called Paper Pools. And this is a song that is called Leaving Jehovah's Witness? What? Okay, let's see. I'm going to try and play this for you because it gives me a link to Instagram, and I don't think if I click on Instagram I'm going to be able to hear anything because Instagram's all pictures and whatnot. Yeah. So thank you for that, Paper Pools. We wish you luck, but you've just been deleted. Goodbye. All right, next person that sent me something. Oh, wait. You know what? We're going to actually hear the song. One of their songs. Paper Pools is the name of their album. All right. Oh, it's not playing through the thing. Forgive me for my technical prowess here. This is today's is not going so good. All right, I'm just gonna play something that somebody always sends me this stuff, and it's good stuff generally. Daniel G. Harmon. Here's something else he's done. He keeps sending me all this stuff. Marcy D.H. is who he's working with here. This is a song. Kiss me, I'll be sure. Wow, that's called 60206. Interesting. Okay. Very good. Thank you. You can vote on either Daniel G. Harmon or the whoever I forgot even was. What were they called? The Pro Tool? The Probiotics? Portraits, Paper Pools, whatever. Which ones you like better? 336mm daily. That's 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews. Daily as in what this podcast is.
Call now. 336mm daily.
I don't know how this is going to go. This is exciting. If you think this podcast is scattered, once upon a time, yours truly was actually on the radio. For 11 years, I was on a radio station in Ventura, California, Ventura County, just north of LA, in Southern California, called KHAY. And I had made several cassettes of it. Now, lately, I've been doing a little tinkering, and I figured out how to attach the cassette player to our sound system here at Cafe Anyway. So I'm going to play, I don't know where this cassette is queued up to, but this is a little bit of a show I did 20 years ago, the Santa Fe Cafe, sort of a precursor to Cafe Anyway. And here is a little bit of it. It's probably not going to make any sense, but let's just go for it. Here we go.
In the basement of the K Santa Fe Cafe to see the man who makes all the delicious root beer and sarsaparilla. The Brewmaster on this Fat Tuesday Freak Fest at the cafe. Let's find out what sort of new root beer or sarsaparilla product he's making. God damn man, well, my Mardi Gras root beer that I was making yesterday, it's not selling so good.
Oh, you know what? That is the Brewmaster. He's the precursor. That's what the Brewmaster. I don't know if you've listened to the show lately. A couple podcasts back, we did have the Brewmaster. So this is what he sounded like in the early days.
That's right, man. Why don't we have the sound effect for water pouring out?
There you go. That's a little bit of what we had back then. Well, I'm hearing the music more than I'm actually hearing the Brewmaster. I'll have to work on that. I still haven't worked out all the kinks. Something's out of phase. Something. Okay, next show, maybe we'll have the Brewmaster stop by, along with Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, but with more on how you can reach me and tell me and send me any other stupid jokes or whatever you'd like to send me. Here's A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.
And that was episode 2480, 2480 Catch Pass Podcast, not on YouTube because they suck, but at my website, mikesdailypodcast.com.